So we're in enemy's land, committing iniquity after iniquity in our enemy's lands. Why? Because this is all we know to do. This is what we awaken, to do as our fathers did. And we being in this land that's full of abomination, in these lands full of abominations, full of things that the Most High hate. We have no other choice but to commit all these iniquities. Verse 40, if they shall confess their iniquity. This is what we must do. And this is what we had to do. If they shall confess their iniquity and the iniquity of their fathers. Wait a minute. We wasn't here. What do we have to do? What? We was not born when they was in the land committing those iniquities. What do we have to do with them? I am glad you asked. This is something, it should already been in your heart. When we awaken to realize we are Yashar'al, we automatically know the scriptures. Our fathers did this. We automatically should fall on our face and say, forgive us and forgive our fathers for doing this, for committing these iniquities against you when you always was there for us. You always was righteous. We turned our back. Our fathers turned their back on a righteous father. And here it is, we were wicked. So yes, we are to confess our iniquity and the iniquities of our fathers and their trespasses, which they trespassed against you, the Most High, that they have walked contrary to me. When we walk contrary to him, that's when he walked contrary to us. It says, and that I also have walked contrary to them and have brought them into the land of their enemies. This is how it happened. This is how Yashar'al ends up in the land of our enemies. We walk contrary to him. We walk contrary to his word. And we end up in the land of our enemies because of this. It says, if then their uncircumcised heart be humbled, and they that be accepted of the punishment of their iniquity. It's saying here, our hearts, we had this uncircumcised heart. We need to become humble, and we need to accept the punishment of our iniquities. We have to own up. We have to own up for what we did. Then will I remember my covenant. This is an important point here. He says, if you do these things, you humble yourself, you acknowledge your iniquity, accept your punishment. He says, then I will remember my covenant with Jacob, and also my covenant with Isaac, and my covenant with Abraham. It says, will I remember? He remembered the covenant. Now, he never broke the covenant. We broke the covenant, and we must mend this covenant back together. And you must get in your mind, when we cleave back unto him and to his law, we have covenant with him. And part of this covenant, dig into the covenant. What was the covenant? The covenant had everything to do with the land. He says, and I will remember the land. You see what's going on in the land, our captivities? Hear how you know the people are not in tune with the Most High. They're fussing and fighting each other. This one says, I keep the law. The next one says he keep the law, but yet the two are fighting. This is something he hates. He doesn't want us fighting each other. He wants us to love each other. What's wrong with loving each other? The enemies hate us. We've been hated long enough. The only ones that's going to love us is those that cleave to his Torah, those that cleave to his commandments, those that cleave to his covenant. These are the only ones that's going to love us. The world will hate us. It's not that what Yahushua said. He said the world hated me. Know that the world will hate you also. Why are we hating each other? Don't be like the rebels. You've been on this channel long enough. Some of the new people, you have a lot to learn. But don't be like the rebels. You have word in you. Don't hate your brother. What is hate? Me putting up a video about someone's faults. Look what he's doing. Look what they're doing. Calling out their names, talking junk, doing all of this. You see? Listen, listen to what I'm about to say, and I've said this before. We all have shortcomings. None of us have arrived. We have to go through that wilderness. We have to go through this purging process. We have to be cleansed with that water we just read about. There's a cleansing process that we haven't yet gone through. We can't point the finger at no one. And when we understand this, and when we understand we need each other, and how much we should cleave to each other, and to love each other, when we understand this and begin to do that, the Most High will begin opening doors for you. Opening doors where you thought that would never be open. You thought you didn't see the door. You talking about him opening up doors. You never seen the door. And he's opened up doors right now that his people have never seen. This door, you thought it was a wall, but there was a door and a way out. You see, our people don't see no way out because we're fighting each other. When we fight each other, there is no way out, and you will remain in the land of your captivity. This is why we need this message. Yashar'al, in the land of our captivity, in the land of the enemy. Jeremiah 2:14 is asking questions here. Is Yashar'al a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? Yes, Yashar'al is a servant. Yes, he's a homeborn slave. But was that the way it was supposed to be in the beginning? No. No, he's supposed to be a servant to the Most High, not our enemy servant. No, homeborn slave. He wasn't supposed to be born enslaved. It says, why is he plundered? This is the question that's being asked. Why? Why is he plundered? Leviticus 26:44. It says, yet for all of that. He's saying, yet for all of this, everything you've just heard, yet for all of this, when they are in the land of their enemies, he says, I will not cast them away. After all we've done, he's not going to cast us away, nor shall I abhor them to utterly destroy them and break my covenant with them. You see, for I am Yahuwah their Elohim. He's saying, after all what we've done, when he visited us, he's still going to visit us, and he visited us. And once he visited us, we understand that we are to come back to him. Not only come back to him with our heart, we are to come back within the borders. This is what this is about. He says he will remember. He will not destroy. He will not break his covenant. We were the ones that broke the covenant. And yes, once we come back within his borders, we are in covenant with him. Once you decide to cleave to his Torah and take on this covenant and do what he say do, you mending that covenant back, that relationship back together that was broken by us. Ezekiel 2:8. This is what we are to do. This is but you. He's talking to Ezekiel here. But you must understand, he wants this for us also. He says, but you, son of man, hear what I say to you. Do not be rebellious like the rebellious house. He's saying, don't be a rebel. This is what he's saying. You see the rebels that come to this channel. Before I block them, they be up there. And then after they come with their rebellious spirit, I block them. But you see them. Sometimes it's 2 or 3 days before I see the message, before I get to block them. But they get blocked. You see the rebellious people that come here. Don't be like them. This house, this Yashar'al was a house of rebellion. It became a house of rebellion. He says, open your mouth and eat what I give you. Open your mouth and eat. Open your mouth and receive his word. I told you, let his word be in you. It should be in you. He says, eat the word that I gave you. In Jeremiah 31:16-17, you would think after all we did, after all we've gone through, all hope is lost. And he's saying our hope is not lost. Our hope is not lost. Thus says Yahuwah. He says, refrain your voice from weeping. Yes, we have we shed tears, many tears we've shed. and your eyes from tears, for your walk shall be rewarded. What you're doing, your walk, listening to him, make sure it's when you shema his word, when you listen and do what his words say. Only until you do, he says, your work will be rewarded. Don't believe this lie. It's because of grace through faith, not of works. What is this? What is the Most High saying here? Your work shall be rewarded. You see, that's a lie. We have the Most High's word, we have man's word. And the Most High is going to be looking at our works, from the works of your hand. This is what Scripture says over and over. From your work shall be rewarded, says Yahuwah. And they shall come back from the land of the enemy. You see, they, us, we, you and I, we going to come back from the land of our enemy. And once we come back within his borders, no longer, this is the birth canal we talked about. No longer you in the land of your enemies. And please do not believe these rebels when they tell you. I had one to tell me, oh, you think you're more Kadash than us because you are within the borders. Well, let me tell you, you're no more Kadash than we are, because Babylon is everywhere. You can't run from Babylon. Where is that in Scripture? You see, the rebel will talk. The rebel will spew cancer out of their mouth. Understand what this is. This is cancer. If you listen to it, you shall die. It will drain the life. It will drain your blood. It will drain everything that's in your spirit that the Most High put there for you to live. It will drain it, and you will die if you listen to that. That's a lie. The things that goes on in the lands of our enemies, where our people are scattered, it's not going on over here. That mess is not going on over here. And even there's some things going on over here. That's why, we're here for a time, and then we're going into the wilderness. And when we go into the wilderness, this is what's going to happen. We will be cut off 100% from the system. There's something coming from the system that you need to understand, and it's huge, it's heavy, and you will not be able to escape unless you are in the wilderness. 17, there is hope in your future. He's telling us there is hope. Don't lose hope. Don't give up. You have to have the attitude, as long as he's on our side. If he is for us, who is against us? We learned that in Christianity. We didn't know what it means. But if he is for us, who can be against him? When he's for us, we're for him, we're in his borders, we have protection. He said, I will only protect those found within my land and within my borders. Notice, all through Scripture, we're reading about the messengers, the Malaks. They were inside the borders helping the people. And once again, we are in connection. We are in contact with these messengers inside the borders. Never have we been in contact outside the borders as we are within the borders. He says that your children shall come back to their own border. This is something. It's been written. This is his word. You must believe it. We have to hold fast to his word and be very careful not to listen to man's word. We have to. Some of our people, our thinking is not where it needs to be. We're afraid of different things. And he's saying, why are you afraid? When he tells us to come back within our borders, sure, it's a strange land. Yes, it's going to be strange to us. But he says, I'm with you to deliver you. And everything will work out. Some people think they will be on their own. Let me tell you, when we come within his borders, remember the scriptures, the elect will begin to dwell with the elect. The righteous will begin to dwell with the righteous. This is what happens. Protection comes within his borders. But our people, and we have many of us, we've gotten out of the enemy's land. Yashar'al is in enemy's land, but it's a remnant. Not all of Yashar'al will remain in enemy's land. A remnant shall come back within the border and once again renew the covenant with the Father. Shalom.